Hello, my fellow fans of the small. I'm Laura Blair, and this is Tiny Worlds, Big Stories. Here we celebrate the artists who craft small-scale magic, miniature makers, diorama dreamers, and dollhouse designers, and uncover the stories and creativity that bring these tiny worlds to life. Whether you build tiny scenes or simply love them, welcome. Today's guest creates entire worlds at a scale that asks you to slow down, lean in, and really look. Roy Tyson, known to many as Roy's People, uses miniature figures in everyday environments to tell stories that are playful and thoughtful and often quietly profound. His work lives at the intersection of photography, sculpture, street scenes, and storytelling. And it also lives right in the middle of a bigger question and conversation about art itself. I've been following Roy's work for quite a while, and what strikes me just as much as the images that he puts out there is the way he engages his audience, especially when people ask that loaded question, is this art? Rather than dismissing it, he opens it up. Today, we're talking about process and scale, travel, commissions, building opportunities for other artists, and what it means to make a creative life that stays curious. These are tiny worlds, but as you'll hear, they hold very big stories. Hi, Roy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Laura.
It's so nice to have you. And you're coming at us from Thailand. I just think it's hilarious that we're 16 hours apart. I love this time in history. It's amazing to be able to talk to you.
It is pretty mad.
So it is. I want to ask you, I'm going to just dive right in. And I want to know if you were into miniatures when you were a kid. Were you into tiny things when you were younger?
I can't say I was, to be honest with you. No, I was always into arts. Like as a kid, I've got two brothers and I'm the middle. And I was always the one drawing, painting and doing all those things. So I was always, creative as a kid. But then I sort of got out of it when I got more into sports. So when I got to kind of about 11, 12 years old, I become more about football, basketball, anything, any sports that were at school and that friends were into. But football was the main part. Maybe you'd say
Of course.
soccer. But yeah, that was my biggest thing. So art, and it didn't carry on from there.
So when you started art, obviously, I mean, like we all do the drawing thing when we're kids. Did you gravitate towards a certain medium when you were a kid?
Not particularly. I always remember drawing animals, particularly pets, just with pencils and charcoal. One of the biggest things that I used to love getting at Christmas was, like you'd get those wooden boxes and they'd be full of pencils and either like watercolor paints or acrylic paints. I used to love getting one of them every Christmas. Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was the 64 box of crayons.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm older than you, so we just got crayons. That's what we got. So you got something very fancy. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a shop in England called WH Smith, and that was, I don't know if you know of it. Yeah, okay. And they were the ones that always did these boxes. So every Christmas I'd ask for one of them. So they was usually my mediums, like it's pencils and acrylic paints and watercolors. And then my dad actually at the time, I can't remember how we got into it, but he introduced me to oil paints and we started painting Van Gogh's sunflowers. I remember my dad's not an artist at all, but he knew obviously I was, keen on that stuff. So yeah, we painted the sunflowers. I can't vision it. We didn't keep it. We gave it to one of our neighbours. So, I've got no idea what it actually, I just remember doing it. I can remember the exact position of doing it. So it was varied, but I would say that there was miniatures were not even, a thing then. It was just about painting and drawing.
did you study something else, like in school, or want to do a different profession before all of this went down?
No, in school, I moved more into sports and music. So when I was about 13, I started really enjoying music. So I started learning the guitar. And then between me and a few friends, it's like when you're kids, you find, like finds like and everything. So I ended up in a group of kids. We were all the alternative group in school. At the time, it was all about music like Sum 41 and Green Day, they were all massive. So we were all just completely in that sort of uh, that sort of era, learning guitar, having a band, and we did that all through school. So that was like that kind of become my creative outlet, if you like.
Mhm.
And then from school, I actually went into apprenticeship, just being a car mechanic.
Oh,
Yeah, which and I was always into
mhm.
cars, and I got in through it a bit of a strange way, but essentially I got into apprenticeship, just got really interested in fixing cars and being around cars and things like that. And that was pretty much 5 years of my life, basically from school. Just apprenticeship,
So tell
car
me about
mechanic.
2012 when you started taking pictures of the little tiny people, because I love looking at your older work as well. And how did that come about? Like, how did you decide you were going to do that? And what did you do with the pictures? I'm imagining you exhibited them and sold prints. Kind of talk about that time.
So 2012, that was at the end of another stage, basically, of my career where after the car mechanic thing, I wanted to go into sales because all my family were into sales. And I just really liked what they were doing. I was interested. So I got into pharmaceutical sales and spent five
Oh,
years as a pharmaceutical sales rep and got to travel around.
my husband did that. That was his first job, pharmaceutical
Oh,
rep.
really?
That's interesting that, yeah, it knows no
Oh, there you
bounds.
go.
Yeah, across the
Yeah, funny
pond. That's funny.
crossover. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the jobs. 5 years driving around the whole southeast of England. So it was my territory. It was to visit pharmacies all throughout the southeast of England. And I loved it actually because it allowed me to explore a lot of places that I didn't explore. But anyway, 2012 came and the company decided to restructure. And just at a funny point, I came across a model train track and at the time, I had an iPhone 4, and I was just taking photos of this model train chat with my phone. I just remember putting the phone down at an angle, like if you did it now, where you got the camera and you turned your phone upside down so the camera
Yeah.
is, on the table
Yep.
or whatever surface you're on. And I did that. And as soon as I did that and looked through the view of the phone. It was just I don't know what it was, but it was just eye-opening. It was like, "Wow, that's
Oh,
pretty cool."
different world.
Yeah, exactly that. So I was taking pictures, and because of this model train track was quite realistic. I mean, you must have seen some over your time, and it's amazing, isn't it? Like, the way that they build them, the attention. Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. Attention to detail was just unbelievable, and I really was just drawn to the fact that something so small could look so real. And it looked a bit like a movie set in a weird way. And so I was taking loads of pictures, and then I just decided to get a couple of figures for myself and start taking pictures
And did you
of
have
them.
concepts in your head? Did you know what you wanted to do, like where to place them, or does this just kind of come about?
Yeah, not initially, not initially. And it like just looking at figures, and then when you start to explore the figures that are out there, you start to think, like I don't know, you get figures that are sitting down. You start to think, oh, I could have them sitting here and sitting there, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
before you know it, you're placing them everywhere, taking a picture of it. You think it's really cool. It's just like, wow, they look so funny. A figure sitting on a flower or something like that. You think, oh, that's
Mhm.
really nice.
You're preaching to the choir. I love it all.
Yeah, exactly. So that just really drew me in. But what the mad crossover exactly at that time was that the company I worked for decided to restructure the whole company and they didn't want external sales staff anymore.
Mm.
So if you wanted to keep a job, you had to relocate and the office was in Leeds, which was about let's say 5 hour drive from where I was. And at the time I didn't really want to relocate. It wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. But also the job that was there wasn't available. You had to reapply for it, you had to go through the whole process of blah blah blah.
Mm.
Um, I got the feeling that I was being pushed out. I didn't want to go to a job also that was just internal sales, so just a lot of sitting on the phone. I really liked being out there in front of people and exploring. Really, it was the best part of it, exploring. So when all that happens, there was about I'd say a month overlap of discovering this little cool thing, of figures and just not developing it in an art form, but just developing it as like something that's just like just caught my eye and just caught my
Mhm.
attention. So just playing around with that, and at the same time really resenting the corporate world. And
Get that
I've
taste, right, of having freedom, and you get to the point, like, I could do something I really wanna do at this point, and that
yeah,
kinda gives you, like, a
yeah,
door. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I hadn't even thought then I could make money from this, or what,
Mhm.
how could I make, obviously you start to, the cogs start turning, don't they? But I feel like at that point, I was a million miles from, really, really pushing go. But then a few things happened really, really quickly over the space of a couple of weeks with work that just then accelerated me into just the drive of, right, I literally cannot stand the people that I'm having to deal with there. Like,
Mhm.
I started looking for other jobs, started getting rejections. The more rejections that came, the more I was just like, right, screw you guys, I'm going. Luckily, I then basically took 3 months gardening leave from the job because I was being made redundant and they had to give me 3 months gardening leave. So I had 3 months where I had full pay, and I had to make a decision where I either push and go and find a job, or I push and try and do something for myself. Now, the only thing that I really had was that at that point, I'd always thought I had always wanted to work for myself. Like, whilst I'd enjoyed jobs, like my vision, even as a mechanic, my vision was, oh, okay, when I'm more experienced and I've got a bit of money, I could open up my own garage.
You're an entrepreneur at heart, sounds like
Yeah,
to me.
I would say so. Yeah, I think that's part of artists that don't
Mhm.
actually appreciate that's within them. That little bit more. But yeah, forever. I mean, when I look back, I was trying to sell. Even in school, we'd take a biro, and me and my friend, we would warm it up. We'd sit there in class, warming it up like this in the middle of it, and bend it into a funny shape, and then sell them in the playground at lunchtime. Because
From the get-go, you're selling stuff to your classmates.
yeah. So there was always things that just, so this came and it was like, right, I'm 25 now. It was a bit of a scary time because I just got my first mortgage literally 3 months ago, bought my first flat, and which was all due to the job that I had. The job that I had was good for my age and what allowed me to do. So I'm thinking it's 3 months, and I was obviously speak to parents and things like that, and they say, "Oh, you've got a good job, and
Mhm.
I'm working out your outgoings. Okay, I need to earn about £1,000 a month now to cover my outgoings. Now I've got a flat." My parents are always saying, "Job," and blah 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 blah. So you have that pressure. So I'm thinking I'm
Yeah.
applying for jobs, but at that point, so the other thing is I had already developed an interest in art just through Banksy.
Oh,
Banksy had always been
that's
on,
a lot of stuff in your work.
yeah. So Banksy, I had a few earlier times where Banksy was just a big influence, not in creative sense, just like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Want to go see
Mhm.
that. There's a new Banksy. Let's go have a look. Putting all those pieces together, once I finally um, got that drive and thought, right, I've got to do something with this. As I started showing pictures of my photos to people just on my phone, and people were like, oh, that's really cool,
Oh,
giving you that inspiration. And you're thinking, "Right, okay." And then someone said to me, I'd like to get one of them. Can I get one of them to print on the wall? Like, yep, great. Let's print one out. Same day, just print it. And then I just started thinking, maybe I could sell these. Maybe I could put them on eBay. So I started doing that, and literally just the minute I started doing that, I'd already had a little bit of a Instagram and Facebook were fairly, well, Instagram was fairly early in those days. Facebook was much more developed in Instagram, but Instagram was, developing fast then. So I'd already thought, right, I'm going to start putting my pictures, just the pictures from my phone, straight onto social media. So I literally sat in front of that, so I can remember the exact moment, thinking, what am I going to call this thing? I don't want to just be, don't want it to just be a page called Roy Tyson. Literally sat down, Roy's People popped up into my head straight away. As soon as I was like, right, sat there, title, Roy's People, because I thought it's just people, it's little people.
Yeah.
and they're my pictures. So as soon as I did that, as soon as I set up that Instagram, I literally did it within a day and um, started putting them out there and made a couple of listings on eBay for prints. For prints that I hadn't printed either. I thought I'm just going to
And
put it
that's the
on.
nice thing because you don't have to have a bunch of them, right? You can just do it on
No,
demand, especially when you're
yeah,
starting.
because I'd already printed a couple for friends, so I knew that I could do. It. I had someone literally around the corner from where I was that could print a print for me, not just like a inkjet print. I knew it needed to be a photo quality. So yeah, I knew that the it'd be easy enough to get it printed and properly. So I just put them on eBay and did the thing. I noticed on eBay that a lot of people use other artists' names to get exposure. So I just did that and I sold them for £30 for an A3 print. And I just did an edition of 10 and they just started selling every day. I'd get one or two sales and they picked it up. And just that alone, just the encouragement from just a completely random person seeing my picture and £30 to me at the time was like, wow, you know. When you start seeing 10 of those, you
When
think,
those
wow,
things started happening, like, when it all started working out for you, are you a believer that, like, when you get to the point where all these doors start opening up, it's the right way to go? Like, it's kind of an invitation to just give it a go.
I am now. I am now. At the time, I didn't really know. At the time, I was just literally just going with the pure elation of like, oh, someone's buying something from me and let's keep this rolling. Now I look at things and with a very different mindset of exactly as you say, like now I can tell when something's going for me to go with it. And when something's pushing back for whatever reason, or something's difficult or something's not flowing, then now I have a mindset of not to fight that and maybe, you know, use energy in a different way. But at the time, it was just pure momentum of, and just like, see, you know,
You're onto something.
yeah. And I was just really, really enjoying it. So because I then had I, I did have a more entrepreneurial thing and I'd been in sales for the past 5 years. So I wasn't afraid to go and speak to people. And also, I would say that this one thing that really, really did help me in these early days is I didn't care about the art market. So I didn't care about tiptoeing around who you could talk to, who you can't talk to. You know,
Mhm.
I think that holds a lot of artists back when they're like, "Oh, I can't approach this gallery because they only sell abstract art." I had, and I still don't. I still do not care for any of that. For me, it was more just I spent a week and I researched every art gallery in London that I could go and see that same day if they got back to me. I researched everyone, made a massive database of 350 or so art galleries in London. And at the time, I had five images that I'd started selling on eBay, images that I liked. You know, not my best stuff, but a couple of them have actually stood the test of time. But I had five images, and I made a. It took a week, like it was laborious, but equally, I knew it was necessary, and I just emailed every one of them and said, "This is who I am. This is what I do. Would you be interested in showcasing any of my work, or would you know anyone that would be?"
That's how you get it done. That's how you get it done. You make the list and you do it. It's a lot about just showing up. I mean, I think a lot of artists don't realize that. They're scared or they're nervous. Is it going to work?
Yeah,
But honestly, if you just make the list and you start plowing through it, someone's going to give you a yes in there.
exactly that. And I literally had a database of every art gallery. If it was African art, Chinese art, any type of thing, they got an email because at the end of the day, I thought, you know, what is the drawdown from sending an email and putting yourself in front of someone? Because whilst it might not suit their gallery, they might have a friend. They probably will have a friend because we all know now. I know
Hmm.
how small the art world and how connected everyone in the art world actually is, especially the ones in galleries and further up. Everyone knows everyone. So I thought you don't know, and there's nothing to lose. There was literally zero to lose in sending. And if it goes into junk, fine, who cares? If you don't get a reply, who cares?
That's the secret sauce, Roy. That's totally the secret sauce. And just going, I have nothing to lose. I'm just going to throw the pasta on the wall. I don't know if you have that expression in England,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, you just throw it up there, see if it sticks. And you'd have I mean, there's no harm, no foul if it's not right now, and sometimes it's not right now. You'll
Yeah.
do it and it'll come down the road, like you said, someone knows somebody. So you're doing all these photos and you obviously got some exhibitions and things. I wanna know, like, how did you cross over into this really cool thing you're doing now? Like, with your painters and your little people and, like, taking other people's art and doing the dots, like, how did that come about? It's so unique and cool.
So that started when COVID came. For some reason, well, no, not for some reason. So I got to, what year was this? I went traveling with my now wife before kids. And we spent a year traveling. And in that time traveling, I decided that I wanted to start an art fair, my own art fair. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be an artist led art fair. It was something that very, very few people do. And I thought by then I'd had 5 years experience in the art industry. I felt like I could help and provide another platform. Anyway, so I started an art fair in 2017. When 2020 came and COVID happened, I had already pulled back from creating a lot of art just because the art fair was just a lot of
Yeah.
organization, a lot
Yeah.
of headspace. And I did enjoy it. It's very stressful, but I did enjoy it because it was working with artists. Like it was almost like a community that I had created. Sorry, no, not just myself, another artist as well called Sam Peacock, who's one of my best
Did you
friends.
see something missing in the art fair and out in that world that you wanted to put out there that was missing? Like, was there something
Yeah,
particular? What was it?
yeah, absolutely. Well, I had done I had done about 10 art fairs previously to setting up because a lot of people said to me, "Oh, you should do art fairs." So I
Mhm.
threw myself into doing art fairs. Some of them successful, some of them not successful, for my own gauge of whether a fair was, you know what I mean? Like everyone's got
Yeah,
a
I do.
different expectation. If you do an art fair, some people want to get loads of money out of sales. Some people just want a gallery to come and say, yeah, we want to represent. Some of them
Mhm.
are successful, some of them not. But what I noticed was, and I didn't, some of them were really good in terms of like being connected with the exhibitors, the support you got in the build up. But I felt like they still had little things. And some of them were just like so cold. And I'm sure you've experienced it where you just, I don't know, you just feel like you pay your money, you get your
Mhm.
space, and that's it.
It's a little
We
lonely
had a
sometimes.
yeah, it really is, isn't it? And then on Sunday night, you go home feeling really, really crap about yourself, thinking like, "What did I do wrong? I probably
That's
didn't
kind of
do
a rite of
anything wrong."
passage, though. If you're gonna do a bunch of shows, you're gonna have some that just kinda suck, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
It was
Yeah,
just a weekend, right?
exactly that. And you can't really like it, if you stopped there and then said, "Well, I'm never doing another one," then you might never get a chance to experience. Uh, the crazy one is our very first art fair that we did, and which was a big deal for us because we're like, Christ, it's like 62 artists, exhibiting and open on a Thursday night. On the Friday morning, there was a bomb scare on the London Underground.
No.
On the Friday
Oh,
morning, it was about like AM, so rush hour, Parsons
man.
Green on the District line, and there was a bomb scare. And our
Oh,
event, we were, I think it was like it was either 11 or a 12 o'clock open that day. And honestly, we'd had a
oh.
really good opening night. So everyone was buzzing for the week, for Friday and the weekend, and we got bomb scare, and instantly it was a ghost town.
Crickets,
London was
yeah,
just anyone that was into work, going into work was like, I'm turning around and going home. Like
mhm,
no one's getting on the tube when there's a bomb scare in London.
totally.
We've been there. No one wants to be there again. It 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 was just weird that Friday. It gives me goosebumps now thinking about it because we were like heading up there to get in there early, just to be there to get everything ready from the night before. So we saw it. We were in London anyway. Yeah. So going back to art fairs that you can have some good ones and bad ones. We were like, wow, like how did this start this way? And then you've obviously got a lot of
The only way to go
no.
but up.
Yeah, exactly. So then you look back at, for me on the 10 or so shows that I exhibited, you look back and there's things, that pros and cons or things that happened that didn't happen, or you could blame things on marketing. So you could, look at a number of different ways that a show might not be successful. But yeah, we were very focused on the artist experience of the fair, or for the artists. We were getting a lot of new artists that had never done an art fair before.
Mm,
So instantly we're like, well, we've got experience. You know, we can relay this to you. Not just gonna wait for you to come and ask us questions. You know, we're not gonna do the thing of saying, we're here if you need us. Like we're gonna
mhm.
come at you with, a ton of support. And then on top of that, if you need, if there's more questions, like, bearing in mind we create everything based on our experience, thinking what would we ask, what
Of
would we need to know. So yeah, we was in a really really good place for that. But then come 2020, circling back to where this my new sort of style came from, because I created less art. The art fair, gosh, yeah, I had an art fair booked for the week after they announced the first lockdown, the first COVID lockdown.
Man.
Yeah, so everything. So the fair was ready to go, like everything. We could have run the fair the weekend before, but it's the way we did it. It's way we did every fair. Obviously, planning and preparation was absolutely key. Organization, everything that. So it was ready to go. So that completely just. So I had two things then. I wasn't making much art. I was making the odd piece when a gallery would request it. At the time, I was working with about 15
Oh,
galleries
you came out of the
around.
gate running.
Yeah, yeah, I went for it. I went from London to just looking at the whole of the UK. So I had
Mhm.
them all over. So as they reduced their stock, they would ask for another piece or so. So I'd be making a couple of pieces, but my work was quite low value then. Like installations were about £250. So I had to make a lot of installations to be able to make good
Mhm.
money, because you needed a lot of time. But the art fair had taken that time. So I was just doing enough to keep things ticking over, but not doing enough to really like, it's like as an artist, if you stop making art, you don't grow, do you? Like,
You do
I feel
not.
like you need to make, like, everything you do leads on to the next thing that you might create. So I don't really know exactly why the idea popped into my head, but I remember being really down in dumps because of COVID. We had our first boy. He was 2 when COVID happened.
Oh,
So all of a sudden, there's no nurseries and everything like that. So all of a sudden, we're locked down. And I'm like, well, we just lost a load of money on the art fair because we did another thing of, personally, I like to do everything as straight and black and white as possible. Within
mhm.
2 days of the locking down that fair, pretty much everyone had been refunded. Every
Yeah.
artist had been
Good for
refunded.
you. Boy, that's huge. I know
Yeah.
that did not happen for a lot of people with a lot of different
No.
things, not just art.
Exactly that. Yeah, and I had things that were already booked, and you start to think not just, art, but, like, hotels or holidays and flights, and you start to think, "Am I gonna lose all this?" And I knew I didn't wanna be the holder of people's money.
Good for you.
So what I did was everyone that wanted a refund got a refund straight away, and I gave them 2 options. You can have a refund straight away, or you can have 50% back now and 50% to go towards the next show when we host
Mhm.
it. So some people did that, some people had a refund, and that was cool. But anyway, that sort of time was just real sort of
The
crazy, wasn't it,
stress.
for everyone? The stress,
It's
yeah.
insane.
But it got me back into art. It did.
Like, everybody was at home freaking out about all of it. I don't think that I've never known in a time when that's been like that, especially artists, because you have to be out. I
Uh,
mean, I think so much great art came out of COVID because
yeah,
you start creating in isolation. I mean, music
yeah.
and books. I mean, that's when I started too. That's when everything really started.
Is it?
I had time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
COVID was terrible, but a lot of really amazing
It was
art came
awful.
out of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was fortunate in that my studio was in my back garden. So, um, it was only a little shed, that I actually built myself, insulated it and tried to make it as best I could. But, I was very fortunate that I had art as an outlet at
Mhm,
that point. I remember just wanting to start really, really early. I was going out to the studio at like 5:30 in the morning before my son would be up. so that there would be a couple of hours where there'd be like, complete peace. And I mean, it was cold and horrible, but I just remember, getting back into my space, not having an art fair to organize anymore. It was just art. And for some reason, I have no idea why, but I started making. And the way I start making is when I've had a break from something, unless I've got a new idea that I want to crack on with, the way I start doing it is I make something that I made before. So I'll take just take an old concept and make that, just so you're making something, you're getting in the rhythm of it. Because I think you do get a bit rusty. Like, yeah, you have learned behavior, stuff like that, muscle memory and painting and things like that. But I think you do get a bit rusty anyway. So I just started recreating older works, like, and I might change a little piece here. I only made a couple. And then I don't know, this happens every now and then. This happens to me. An idea pops into my head and I think I could have them painting out the Damien Hirst spots. And that's when um, I made my first scrubbed out spot, which is a take of Damien Hirst's spot paintings
My
with little
favorites of
people.
yours.
No, thank you. With little people painting them out. And I remember the first one I made, uh, I went in, showed my wife. My wife's generally not like, she's not really into art. She's into art in the terms of like, she's come to stuff with us before, like, we've been to the Banksy Hotel in Palestine, and we've done lots of shows together, like, been to shows, done but she doesn't make art or anything like that. And I showed her, and she said straight away, "I like that." And that's when do you
Seal
know
of
what I mean? Like,
approval.
it's seal of approval and just that little tiny bit of encouragement that not from an artist friend or anyone like that, but someone that's, could just say, "I like that." So, as soon as that
Wait till
happened.
your kids are older. When the kids
Oh,
grow up
yeah?
and they actually give you a compliment, that's when you really know because the kids are not
Oh, really?
forthcoming with compliments.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the first like 25-year-old, oh, that's okay. That's funny.
Okay.
So then you just
I
started
love
taking
that.
off and you started making stuff continually from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly that. From then, the art fair started up again, but from then I knew that I didn't wanna have so much input into the organisation of
Hmm.
it, and I was working with my friend and another friend we took on as well. So I started um, being a manager rather than,
Hmm.
just an employee of my own thing, and just started delegating, and the time that I wanted to be able to make was from then, like, precious and something that I needed to protect.
Did you guard it like crazy and say, these are the hours I'm making
Absolutely.
art, these are the hours I'm doing admin? Is that kind of how you did
Yes.
it?
Yeah. I had it broken down into days of the week. So we used to do the art fair used to be a couple of days a week. So 3 days a week I'd be doing art, 2 days of the week I'd be doing the art fair. And rather than before it was like every day. But yeah, that was just a reminder of what I really loved. Like, I
Hmm.
loved making art, and I think all artists are the same, like, deep down, that's the thing that you want to do.
Hmm.
Obviously, all the sales and everything else that comes from making art is such a nice feeling, obviously, when people collect your art. But the actual making it is for me anyway, is the real, like, core of everything. So once I knew that and rediscovered that, it was like, yeah, guard it,
You
protect
have
it.
you have flow a lot, I would imagine. Flow is my favorite thing where you're getting into it and you look up and like 3 hours have passed, and that's always how I think especially artists, this is the right thing. If time is passing, you're not even knowing. That's pretty amazing. You're pretty happy to be making things. So, how did you start doing commissions? How did that start to come into your world when you got into this rhythm?
Commissions have yeah, they've always been a thing through galleries, where galleries would show something and then someone would say, "Oh, I like that. I like that one with the balloon heart, but can the heart be pink?" or whatever. A gallery would come to me for commission. So that had always been a thing. And then, um, remember now, but there was a
Several
point.
brands you've worked for, right?
Yeah.
Several
So
commercial brands?
yeah, our commissions in that sense. So that was, do you know, the biggest bit of exposure that I first had was through the Daily Mail online. And
That's what your photography,
yeah,
right? For the little people.
yes. Yeah, and at the time, that was, like, massive, like, that's what really grew my Facebook following at the time. It really started to get me exposure. Out of that, I would say that, albeit over time, but the Royal Mint was a commission that came out of that exposure. So I did a small piece for the Royal Mint, based around the smallest coin that they were launching. Apple found me through that, through one of their employees on the Regent Street shop
Amazing.
found me. And then at a very similar time, I started having exhibitions. So a gallery in London in Old Street, they gave me my first solo exhibition. Out of that, Time Out wanted to speak to me and see my work so they could print it. Big Issue wanted to speak to me. Sea Life, Sea Life came through that. So I think it was just like those commissions just came with pure exposure to the sort of marketing corporate world. It was absolutely none of it was to do with me contacting them or doing any of that in
I
the
gotta
same way
say
of the
though, you
galleries.
did the prep. You did the prep ahead of time though. I mean, like, it's that whole preparation meets opportunity. When you're
Yeah,
emailing a million galleries and then the art fair and doing all these things, like people find you. And then all of that you did was worth it. I think
yeah.
people find you in that way. Do you prefer doing your own stuff versus commissions, or commissions okay? Some artists kind of feel like, ah, I gotta do commissions, and some really love it.
So now I don't really do the commissions like the corporate ones anymore. For whatever reason, I don't know. Who cares really? But that side of things, I have a feeling it's probably because I don't do so much photography anymore, and life's more
Do you miss
about
it? Are you good with letting that go?
yes, I don't miss it. I don't miss the photography. I
Yeah.
love photography. I do photography every day now because my our life at the moment, where we're traveling and where we're exploring. My wife is also like a social media influencer as such. So part of my role in that is to record everything, photos.
You're the
Um,
hired help.
yeah, unpaid help,
That's great.
but it's a creative outlet. It's a creative outlet for my photography and the videography.
That leads me to my next question. How on earth do you make the art with all the stuff you have when you travel? I'm seeing you like with these frames and doing all these things. Like, how do you do all that when you're on the road? Do you have a system, or
Oh,
do you have tools you have to have? Like, how does that work?
yeah. So I have set things that I have to carry with me because without it, I'd probably struggle to find them. And then there's things that I know that I can buy. Thankfully, the price of my works and the commissions that I do allow me to afford, if I've got to buy a pack of Posca pens that, a different size to what I've got,
Mhm.
it's not, such a big deal. So things like that I just buy as I go. And then things that I can carry, I carry. A lot of time I have stuff shipped, like literally yesterday. So we've just moved from northern Thailand to southern Thailand. And I just shipped a cardboard box worth of my stuff down to the other side of
You
the
have everything
country.
you need.
Yeah, so whilst we're within countries, like, that's possible, and then when we're traveling a bit faster, which we don't tend to do anymore, we did it not last year, 2024, we traveled a bit fast. So I slowed down on the art. I actually took 3 months off of making art whilst we were traveling through Japan. So just stored my stuff in Thailand, and then when we came back to Thailand, picked it all up again and carried it on.
Is your art inspired by the places that you go? So, like, when you get to Thailand, is there a different idea that pops in your head? Does your location inspire new ideas?
No, I wouldn't say so. I can't honestly say that I've had inspiration from Thailand. The one inspiration, actually, that is a bit of a lie. Last week, I went to, we were in Chiang Mai. It was our final week in Chiang Mai, and I love Chiang Mai. I don't know if you ever visited,
My daughter
Chiang.
loves Thailand. That's like her favorite place to go.
Okay,
She's been all over the world and she just loves it.
oh, it is amazing. Yeah, it is lovely. It's really, really lovely. But Chiang Mai is in north of Thailand, and I hadn't been to a contemporary art museum or a gallery for ages. And I noticed that they had quite a decent sized one there. And I'm so glad I did because that's the first time that I've been inspired by something in Thailand. And I'm walking around this gallery and there's a lot of Thai artists. So there is a lot of art that's different to our
Mhm.
contemporary art world that the Western world's like used to. But there were so many things that I saw within. I look at pictures now and I see little things that could be used.
Isn't that the craziest thing when you go into Little Land? Everywhere you
Yeah.
go, you start thinking, "Can I use that?" Home Depot. Every time I go,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
little tiny things, like, "What can I make? How can I make something out of that?" It is a weird thing. You kinda,
Yeah.
like, flip your thinking.
Yeah. It's brilliant. I love it. I love it when things like that pop up. But yeah, so that's the first thing that inspired me. When we were in Japan for 3 months, the type of art in Japan really inspired me. I can't say I've developed. I know a couple of commissions that I've developed that have used things that I found in Japan, but it hasn't evolved my artwork as such. Just smaller things that I pick up. But yeah, so I don't know. We're going to China and Korea soon. So really,
I
really
have a
looking
feeling
forward
you're
to it.
gonna find some of this inspiration in Korea. There's a lot of cool stuff there. It seems like a lot of, miniature artists that have to do with tiny bakeries and tiny, tiny
Oh,
food
right.
is in Japan and
Yeah, yeah,
Korea, like some amazing artists on Instagram. You see that. At least I
yeah,
follow them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, absolutely. I've seen it as well. And I think something I'm trying to do at the moment is because we've been in Asia basically for 2 years. My whole Instagram has thrown me off, like, because with being in the UK, I reach UK and America, and great, like that's mostly my market. Mostly my market is actually America. Being in Asia now is just showing me to, at the moment, is showing me to Thailand. Fine, I don't think Thailand is particularly a big collector of contemporary art. I don't think my market is Thailand, but I think Asia, one thing I'm really looking forward to with being in Korea is trying to reach their market because looking at the Korean market, I see
Mhm.
it aligning much more with the Western art market. And I think the miniature thing is big. So I'm really looking forward to getting there and trying to put myself out there we've got 3 months in Korea, and so, that's my goal. My goal is basically what I started in London.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see, we'll
that'll be
see.
good.
I'm probably gonna take a break from actually making physical installation through Korea because 'cause we're traveling around quite quickly, but I'm gonna use it as a very much a research, inspiration, create contacts, exposure project rather than a project to physically make art there.
Yeah, yeah, kinda have your chapters, don't you? Especially when you travel, the things that you're gonna be doing, especially with children, it dictates kind of what you're gonna be doing in your career. So the social media piece was huge for you. Like, you have a very big following. Was that just all organic? Did you just I mean, were there strategies, or did you just kinda just do it and everyone sort of really thought, "This is so cool. I'm gonna pay attention to this." Like, what advice would you have for people who are artists, especially
Uh,
trying to make a go of it?
yeah. So I think that's um, where I was taking photos in 2012. That's all Instagram was then. It was just photos. So, and it was like square photos as well. There wasn't another
Mhm.
format. It was just a square tile. I think that like what we were saying earlier was, everything just aligned. I think at that time, the pictures I was taking, Instagram exploding, was just a bit of a perfect combination
Perfect
um,
storm. Yeah.
for exposure. Those early days of putting my pictures on Instagram were incredible. Like the amount of interaction. There were also the days of people actually liking your post.
Right, I know it's changed, hasn't it? The algorithm, we live by and die by that. It's annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and now we just scroll, like, pushing the button to actually like something is gonna go, like, that is dead. If anyone's caught up on how many likes they've got, then you cannot be because that is a thing that is buried already and is gonna get phased out quickly because we don't do that anymore. We look at it. That's our
Right.
time. Our engagement is how much time is spent looking at the thing we're being shown, not the actual physical liking. It might bolster it, but that thing's going to go because it's too laborious, and people don't need to do that anymore. Anyway, Instagram was liking a post, and
I
so
miss
I was
those
getting
days.
thousands. I know, I know.
Is
I was
that how
getting
you found a lot of your American collectors? Was during that
yeah, that
time?
that was how I basically grew my account to 50,000 followers within the first year of setting it up.
That's huge, especially during that time.
Yeah,
That's
it was
huge.
incredible. It was amazing. So obviously, all of those things at the time, getting into the art galleries, getting exhibitions,
Mhm.
getting exposure, all those things were just like so good and so by that time I'm well in the way of like I'm never looking back and trying to apply for jobs or anything like that.
You're right. You're teaching a master class here, Roy, because like all the things you're talking about, having 5 different things that you're throwing out with something that you love, it's kind of the secret because if you just show your work on Instagram and you hang out in your studio, if that's all you're doing, it's going to take a long time. It's the stuff that's uncomfortable. It's the emailing the galleries or doing an exhibition when you've never done one before. I think that taking the risk stuff, that's what gets you the rewards. It sounds like you've been doing that, like, pretty much with everything. Maybe that's just your personality. It's
Yeah,
kinda cool.
no, it is. Yeah, and I mean, I don't see now as I get older, I don't see any reason to not take risks. And then so once I got to my account actually stumbled from I then we got to about 52,000 followers. And then all of a sudden it became really, really difficult to grow. I could never really figure out why, but and then the art fair came along. I started posting less, which now I know isn't. I look back at it, I think, why did I post more? Like it was so easy. It was so easy to post a picture. And then again, when COVID came around, and the sort of the catalyst that had for me anyway, that was when TikTok changed the game
Oh,
entirely. And TikTok went bang, and everyone was like, What's this app?" I remember talking about TikTok before COVID, and because we was looking at it for the art fair. And we were like, I don't know. How are we gonna do TikTok for the art fair? Because all we're seeing is celebrities doing dances to music. It was a lot of that, wasn't it? The early days of TikTok,
it
just
was, yeah.
memes and like dances to tunes. So it's like, how are we gonna? So we didn't actually start doing TikTok for the art fair. But then obviously when COVID came along and everyone was like, "That looks fun. Yeah, let's do some of that." And then TikTok evolved into just creating videos of everything. And that's when Instagram launched Reels. Instagram launched
That's
Reels
right,
at the
because they had
very
to
early
compete.
days and had to
Mhm.
compete because they were getting lost. So then when Reels came along, that was also a bit of a time where I started to think, let's explore this because I've already got a platform on Instagram. And I just started doing, I remember it was rubbish, my first few videos, because I had absolutely no experience with videoing. All my stuff was photography. So I started doing videos and they were taking ages, as you probably know. Like they still do, don't they? Making reels takes forever.
Mhm.
But then I started to see, like, I was away horse racing with my family, and I made one reel of a little guy stacking a box of pizza boxes.
The Domino's
Yeah,
guys.
Domino's one. And that one reel, it was like 7 seconds long. Because by then I tried to work it out, and then I started to think, what's the simplest thing I could do just to make a reel that would be like start to finish, easy to edit, easy to video. And I thought, oh, let's
Mhm.
just create this Domino's guy and stack the pizzas and just put it out there as that. And I remember I posted it about a week later and I was away. It's like, this reel's getting some views. And it was on like 100,000 views or
Oh
something.
my gosh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my, wow, okay. I've got to do that again. And then you start to think,
Don't you always find,
right,
like, the most simple videos are the ones that get, like,
yeah,
the huge and the ones you spend all the time on and you
yeah,
edit and the lighting and everything is like, 100 people. I
yeah,
definitely I realize that sometimes more is better or sorry, more is less.
less.
What am I trying to say? Less is more.
I know what you mean. Less is more,
Less
yeah.
is more because people just want to be delighted, and if it's 7 seconds watching a little guy, tiny miniature, stacking pizzas, that's all they need.
Yeah, yeah, and that working was just, like, such an eye opener. So then I obviously started thinking I started getting inquiries as well through, people seeing my stuff. So then you start to think, "Okay, well, as a marketing strategy, that worked." So I evolved the reels from there. Ever since, I've never stopped making reels, developing reels, exploring ways. And there's so many artists. One of my best friends, he's got a degree in fine art, and he's a brilliant artist. And you just can't explain enough how much of a platform is there, how many people on the other end of that phone just to like whatever energy you're doing on something else, just cap that for a little bit. Put it into this. Put it into making a very simple reel. Like if you're only doing one a month, you're not improving. You're not getting any better at your videography, at your editing, at learning what people like, what people don't like. You're not improving. You're just doing something to feel like you should do it, and I'll give that a go. And I'll give that, like you get a bit bored of something, and then you give it some time. And think, oh, I'll give that a go again. There's a little bit of that. You never actually get better at it, is it? Whereas reels for me from then was like, right, this is how I'm gonna grow
It's your job.
Instagram.
It's the
Yeah,
job part,
exactly
right?
that. It is a job. It is a job, and it's creative as well.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it showcases no one knows how to showcase your art like you know, and if you get a
Yeah.
really fun idea and it's hot for you in that moment, you can relay that elation about it to your audience, especially if you have a big audience, because they'll follow along, you know? I think that's what you found for sure.
Yeah, and you've got to for me, I think personally every artist has got something that they do that'll be interesting for someone else to see, or it'll be
Uh-huh.
different compared to the next artist or whatever. And if it's not massively different, then I bet every artist could record something in a different way that someone else has done. Like, okay,
Right.
maybe we're making a similar piece of art to someone else, but I'm going to record it in this angle or close up like this or from this view of my studio. And I think that bit of exploring how to get your art across to people is the bit that you have to work on. Like, yeah, ideas, because we're all creative, so ideas are going to come to you.
Yeah.
Like it's the same. It's literally the same as making art. Like I think to myself, what if I did this angle with the? What if I had the camera looking down, or what if had the cam? It's just those little tiny things. Like there's still creativity coming
Your
out of you.
your whole photography career started like that. What if I put the phone on the table with the tiny person? I mean, what have you got to
Exactly.
lose, right?
And then I started,
Well,
and now it's like, right, well, and I'm going to show things really close up. Like I'm going to really bring you into the making of the art and what I'm doing. Whereas before, when I started, it's quite far away. You think someone's close enough, and then you think, oh, actually, let's get closer. Let's really show you what's going on. Really show what's going on. And then you create something completely different. And
yeah.
then that for me is what then gets you the attention of someone,
It's an art form for
which
sure.
that's all you need. That's all you
The
need is a bit
real
of
the real
attention.
the art of the real.
Yeah.
I do wanna ask you the question about what is art, because I loved your thoughtful you've had some really thoughtful responses to people in comments because you do have a huge following. So, you know, you're gonna get people to say whatever, and I'm just curious, like, just your thoughts about the whole thing. 'Cause I loved your responses. Can you kinda like, when someone says it to you, you know, "Is this really art?" or whatever, what do you say? What's your response?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to my original naivety of the art world. And by naivety, like, I mean in a good way. Like, I'm glad I had that naivety. If there's anything I could, do, just go with that. Like, if you don't care. But for me, anything is now art or can be turned into art. I look at anything and think like, what could that be made into, or you know, what could we do with that thing? I think as you see more art over time, it becomes even more like that. Like I've also studied because I've spent a lot of time in my studio. Well, back in England anyway. And when I had my studio, I'd spend hours in my studio. And in the background, I'd have YouTube lectures about artists on just all day,
Ah,
just lectures. Because I've,
picking it up while you work, yeah.
yeah, I find it genuinely fascinating. Like I don't even need to know who the artist is. Just just tell me about them, like, just let it play in the background, and so then you kind of for me, as an artist, I kind of get to see, like, how art has evolved and how how artists get to what they've got to, and you can see the influences of the different artists within their work. So then when I look at other artists, like past artists, anywhere from actually, abstract expressionism would be one of the key areas of art history for me that really like changed the game and evolved art. But then when I see lots of things within abstract expressionism and everything that people were doing there, and then I see things that were brought forward from that era, that's why I start to believe anything can be art. Because like Robert Rauschenberg was a pop artist, essentially. Yeah, he is pop art, isn't he? But when you look at a lot of things he did, like his looking back to abstract expressionism and the things he was using within his artwork to develop that into pop art, you start to think, "Oh, well, he's doing that with that, so if that's okay, anything can be art." It's what you
Banksy is like you're a huge Banksy fan, and that was something that I mean, you must have really seen the art in that because that was something that inspired you to kinda do your thing.
yeah, well, what I loved about Banksy was the whole mysteriousness of it. I love personally with Banksy, I love the mysteriousness, but the simplicity in his execution of what he's trying to say then develops art in a whole 'nother way. Like, it's like, "Oh, well, if it can be if the message can get across with a couple of stencils,
Yeah.
like, it's that easy." So all of a sudden, you go from storytelling, like,
Your art is
think
very minimalist too. I think about like your dots and how you have the white space and that minimalist kind of aesthetic, but you always have something clever and kind of cheeky in it that I think is appreciated because of the negative space. I mean, it would get lost if
yeah,
it was, I mean, the sea of dots is another whole thing, and we love that. But the ones where you've got the dots that are shaded out and you have your guys just hanging, you've got a very nice composition there that's easy to read, I think, in what you were trying to get
yeah,
across. Do you have
yeah.
a plan for the future? Are you just gonna keep doing what you're doing? Is there like a dream or some big thing that you wanna do as an artist?
I've always one of the biggest, I say, dreams, if you like, is I wanna have my work in museums more than anything. Like, I'm not really bothered about galleries anymore. Actually I don't work with any galleries now. But my dream is museums. That would be like big museums as well. Like that would be my absolute goal. Like if I fast forward 100 years and I'm dead, everything I'm trying to do now is to ensure that there is a bit of me that's left behind in
Mm.
the art world. The legacy of my art at this time is where I want it to go to. Now, I don't believe I'm really not sure if I've got any collections, artworks within a collection in a museum at the minute. As far as I'm aware, like I haven't been contacted by any museums to say we've got this piece or whatever, or that someone's bought anything. Um, and I think, as an artist, that might be a lifetime's work. Like I don't expect it to happen now. Just I know that now I just got to keep going, keep evolving, keep making art, keep getting the exposure to the world.
Well, I will say this, if the past is any indicator of the future, I could see that happening for you. 'Cause you seem to make things happen, you know? It's been a natural progression. You start with the galleries and the exhibitions, and now you know what you want. I think that's wonderful. That's awesome. Are you guys gonna so you're in Southern Thailand now, and then you're gonna go to
Mhm.
Korea, and where else were you going? China?
China.
And do you think you're gonna go back to London anytime in the next few years?
Um, I'm not sure. It depends. I'd say not next year. Very unlikely anyway next year. Because after Korea, we're not sure, but we might go back to Japan because we really loved Japan.
Yeah, I have to talk to you about it. I'm going in November, so I'm very, very excited.
Ah, amazing.
I'm obsessed with so many things of their design. I cannot wait. I'm really
Ah,
excited. And I love fake food. I've got this weird thing about making fake food and they have the most amazing, their stuff looks so real. It's like a whole art form there. Yeah, that's another whole conversation.
that's so true. Because it's in all the restaurants have fake food out the front of
It's
them.
a funny thing, isn't it? Yeah, and it looks really real. You could take classes. I don't think my husband's gonna put up with that, but I think I might wanna take a class
Oh, that's
over
a
there.
great idea.
I know, it'd be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
love
I'm so
that.
excited for your for your future and what you wanna do, and it's so funny, I had a lot of these questions prepared, and I think the real message here is you gotta advocate and do things for yourself to show up and make it happen. That's, like, been the real overall message from this. It's very inspiring. I think it'll be good for people to hear. It's like, keep on keeping on. You love making your art, right? If people love what they're doing and they're in the flow and they're doing all the things, they're doing the reels, something is going to break through at some point. It might not be a living, but something is going to break through. And I think you're a great testament to that because this is you living your life as an artist because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes artists put a lot of boundaries up, don't they, unfortunately? Having worked with so many artists, it's like, there's always something to hold them back. Yeah, it's unfortunate because and I think also we're in a little bit of an age of like instant success. Someone gets something that's viral, it doesn't make them instantly successful. It just makes one viral video. Like do it, do it 10, 20 times over and over. Then maybe you're onto some, level of success that will carry you through. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people get caught in, oh, that didn't work. I'm not doing that again. Or, it's not worked quick enough. And it is unfortunately just the era we're in and the kind of mentality that has been like drummed into us through TikTok and Instagram. We want everything a bit quicker. I think if you can sort of come back from that and not give in to that thing of, oh, because if everyone else is giving up because it's not quick, then surely that just opens up the opportunity.
Yeah. You just hit it right there. If you're consistent and you can find your thing and you do it every day and those people fall off, you're right. Your odds get a lot better, especially if you're doing a medium that everybody's doing, like painting, like abstract painting. I'm always thinking that must be so hard because it's something that it's pretty subjective and how do you stand out? And these days we have it's the best time in the world to be an artist because you can live in Thailand and sell something to somebody in Washington state. You couldn't do that in the 80s. I mean, you had galleries and you had art fairs. That was it. And right now you can work for yourself. You don't have to show your stuff and have someone take 50%. You
No.
can do all the stuff online. Someone can see the magic and start collecting from you. And that sounds like what you've done is you found your collectors by really showing up online. Yeah. That's a great message.
It's been there. That is, yeah. I mean, I can't recommend people to push through with Instagram and Facebook enough. Like TikTok as well, but Instagram and Facebook particularly, like there is billions of people literally on the other end of a phone. And
Yep.
if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna take a little exhibition in a small village and put a flyer up in the post office as a way as a way to market yourself, then no. But why? But why do the energy there? Why put it there? Your energy, like, why? I don't even need to leave a studio. I sometimes think
Yeah.
to myself, like, I know several abstract artists that just cannot seem to, like, no, not that even just can't make a thing of Instagram. And I look at I think of their process, and whilst I don't know it entirely, and I think, geez, give me that process. Like, if I could do what you could do, which I can't because I don't do that type. Do you know what I mean? Like, an abstract artist knows their craft, and I appreciate every artist for them doing what they do. Like, brilliant. Yeah, give me a couple of years, maybe I could learn it because I think artists are very handy, and I think we could probably put our hands to most things. Give me some years, I can learn it, but I don't want to learn it because that's this is it's not what I'm interested. But if I could, I reckon in a few months I could make something that could be so unique just with the style that you're doing, but I'll show it in a completely different way online to what someone else is showing it. And I'll get it to work for you in the terms of getting that exposure that people want the exposure is what will generate sales and inquiries. Well, inquiries first. If you're not getting inquiries, you're not getting sales. So, but I think you could create something that would create the interest in your work,
It's such a tool, like, it's right there, and I just think a lot of people just don't love the algorithm, they really feel a slave to it, and I think they feel like I'm not making art if I'm doing the reel, you gotta have that, I think you've got that balance of, "All right, today's the day I promote my stuff, and I do the videos, and I play the game, and I get it out there, and then tomorrow's the day I just don't touch it, and I make my art." You know, you gotta set boundaries around it for sure, but I think there are a lot of artists like, "I don't wanna mess with it at all," and you're missing a huge opportunity. It's a slippery slope, I think, too, because you can also do too much and not have time to make your art. I've seen that as well. You just gotta know where your balance is, but it can definitely work.
I think you have to build it into your job, um, into your workflow. Let it be the marketing part of your job with your own business. And I think if algorithms, people like to stand behind the algorithm as a reason to not do something. It's an excuse. Like if we're gonna, like I said to you, I do like to do things black and white, and I feel like saying the algorithms doesn't work for me. It's just a reason to not do something. Like the algorithm is very simple. You need to create something that people are going to engage with very, very quickly. Like there's really not much, and if you didn't create something that people don't look at and it catches their eye, then you've done it wrong. You need to go and create something else. You need to create in a different way. It's really not much more. It's really not much more. Keeping up to date on things like how many hashtags is
That's the stuff people get bogged down
essential.
with.
That's fine, but ChatGPT can literally tell you all of that within a heartbeat. If you made it a thing to ask ChatGPT every day, has any recommendations changed on Instagram? No. Oh, today actually they say 3 hashtags is the maximum, or ideally none. Okay, cool. Something to go by. But what it's not telling you to do is go and put 30 hashtags on your post anymore. So yeah. So it doesn't need to be like I think it gets
So keep the social
overdone.
media simple, make good art,
Yeah.
and show it in a cool way. That's what you gotta do.
And like find a rhythm. Like if you're not doing it's just to me it's the same as art. Like if I stop doing art, I actually said last week, because I've not made a lot of art. At the moment I'm making about 2 pieces a month, which is not enough for me, but it's just enough to keep everything ticking over and keep doing the commissions that I've got. But I feel rusty.
I'm so glad that you agreed to come on because it's a great message that you have, and your art is so much fun. I started following it quite a while ago because the little people are my thing too, and I always kind of found my little people artists, but there were just a few that kind of filtered out that I kept following, and you were one of them. And you gotta, it's just a fun, colorful, clever thing you got going, and I enjoy it, and I know that other people do as well. And I'm going to put all of your what so if people want to find your stuff. It's Roy's People on Instagram, and then your website is Roy's People as well,
Yeah,
right? Is that
it
correct?
is.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
put it in the show notes. This is a question. What's the thing that little Roy, small Roy, meaning you, what's something that grown Roy finally gets to honor in this work? The miniatures and the art and all the things you're doing.
It'd probably be just my initial interest in art, and then coming back to it. It's probably, after spending the best part of 15 years probably away from, not doing any art whatsoever. That's probably the biggest thing. Coming back to it and then, following it through as a career. I would never have obviously you don't really know what you want to be, do you, when you're little? But
But you know what you like.
you do know what you like, yeah. So, like, when you put it all together, I know that it's no surprise that I've come back to a creative, way of life. So yeah, it'd probably just be that. It'd probably just be going back to what initially was my thing, going away from it, and then, yeah, coming back.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of us, if you think about it, if we honor the things that we really, really loved when we were kids, like you win. That's in your
Yeah,
life as
true.
an adult, you win because it doesn't go away. It's usually just it's buried in there. And a lot of people don't come back around to it. Life gets in the way, and it's pretty amazing when you can. And you have made life choices too, like with traveling and living in places
Mhm.
like Thailand, things that have supported that dream. And I think you got to do that too, right? I mean, you can't live in New York City and try to give it a go as an artist. And it's just super, super expensive. You have to make sacrifices sometimes and make decisions. It's the support of the little person who knew what they wanted for sure. And not the little person.
Yeah.
The little person. It was so nice talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time, 16 hours ahead of me. I appreciate that. And you were on the top of my list. So thank you so much for coming on. If you loved this episode, make sure you're subscribed on Apple or Spotify podcasts or the YouTube channel so you don't miss the stories and wisdom these incredible artists share. I'd love to see you inside my newsletter, Small by Design. On YouTube, just tap the link in the description. On Apple Podcasts, scroll to the bottom of the show notes. You can follow along on Instagram at Laura Blair Art Studio for my art and at Tiny Worlds Big Stories for podcast updates. If you're feeling generous, a 5-star rating helps other miniature fans find the show. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time in another tiny world with a big story.